I think I know what I'm doing. Hey there, and welcome to another Scruffy City Aquatics live stream on a Tuesday evening, Tuesday night for us. It is great to be back. We've been gone for, well, I guess we were just off a week, but the week before that was a different show, and we're back. And not only are we back, but we are. Let me get this off of solo. We're all back. What's up,
Yes,
Tanner?
it's good to be back. I had I think 2 week break actually, so it is
Yeah.
good to be back and back on the stream.
Yeah, it's funny. We rush to try and be here, and sometimes we're always talking about how it seems like it's very hard to get here, but then you miss the conversation and everything when we're not on.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's something I look forward to every week.
yeah. And while we're getting started, am still looking. Oh, you know what? I've got it. I found it. I've been looking for something, and I've got it, so I can load it now.
What's up? Keep keeping aquatics and Nancy B, and then fish time with Lando. Hope y'all are doing well tonight.
What's up, guys, gals, Lando? Just a clicking. There it is. All right, it's loading. We will be ready to go when it's time. Yeah, so it has been a crazy week or so, a couple of weeks. Um, a lot. So you had an MCAS meeting, and I
Yes.
had an ETAA. We didn't do a meeting. We had an outing. It was our first ever outing where we toured a local fishery. Um, I'll let you start. If you have anything about MCAS you want to talk about with the last meeting and maybe what's to come.
Yeah, we had a really good meeting. One of our members, Brad, spoke on keeping fish outdoors in tubs, ponds, aquariums. He does a lot of outdoor, cichlid breeding. So that was a really
Oh,
cool presentation
yeah,
to listen to. Um, Actually got to meet Nancy B for the first time at
awesome.
the meeting. We might be having to look at a new location soon because of we're filling it up the last
That's awesome.
couple meetings. So right now we're still at the same spot, but maybe in the semi near future we will be looking to expand a bit.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing it, and I follow MCAS on Facebook. I'd recommend it for anyone to follow MCAS and ETAA if you enjoy our
Yeah.
show and our conversations. And we're always in there talking with our local hobbyists and friends, and it's a lot of fun. And then you also you'll know a little bit more about what's going on with our clubs. I'm trying to pull this up so I can share it. Copy. Okay. And then I realized I didn't do the whole close it thing. So make sure I take care of that before we get too far into this. Um, Tubbing's upon us. It's time. I think the
Mhm.
temperatures are up in East Tennessee, maybe Middle Tennessee, and last year I think I started sometime in April. This year April was still a little cold, still a little chilly. We had some cool mornings. I
Mhm.
did put out some water lettuce and frog bit, and it did not like the cold. The code. It did not like the cold, so I did not put any fish out yet. But that is coming soon. I'm going to go through and pull the guppies, and I'm looking forward to getting all the guppies out of the 25 because I've got a little bit of a guppy breeding project that I want to work on with the 25. I've got some. I think they started off as some tequila sunrise guppies, but somewhere along the line, I got this gray in them, and they're actually in the 75. If I could, I wish I could zoom in, but they are absolutely gorgeous, and I'm hoping to keep them going.
Yeah, I think those were the ones you were telling me or sent me pictures of
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago. Those are beautiful. I think if I remember right, uh, at our meeting, he was saying that any when it consistently stays in the 50s at night is when he'll start putting stuff outside.
yeah, yeah. That's what Curtis told me last year when I was working on it. He said, you don't want your water to get below the 50s.
Hmm.
And because when I first moved things over last year, we did dip down in the 40s one night. Um, and so that didn't go well. It surprised me. So I'm waiting a little bit longer this time. Um, Before we start looking at the chat, we'll let it. People are coming in. The ETAA. I've got a video. I've got some footage. Sean with Peck Tech has already put out
Hmm.
his video of our trip, our tour of Conservation Fisheries Incorporated, and it's a great video. I love it. I've been sharing it all over with people, especially with the people that weren't able to make it, letting them see because he really did capture a lot of information from there. There's only a few things you didn't see. In that he did have to leave a little earlier than the rest of us, so there was a little bit there at the end. Also talking about their expansion that they're currently working on, and I did get some footage of that, so I'm looking forward to being able to share that because they have plans drawn up of how they're going to expand their building and be able to expand their research and the work that they're doing to protect. See if I can get this right. Local, non-game native species. And I think that's key because one thing I didn't realize in all the times we spoke with Derek, who's been on the show on our live stream, um, I'm pretty sure he said it, it just didn't click with me. They're the only fishery that is that are working with these species that are non-game. So they're the only fishery out there in the U.S. at least that's exclusively non-game native species. And they were telling us a lot of the stories. And honestly, I was thinking about it today. I would love to like carve out one live stream a month or maybe a quarter, maybe whatever Derek or maybe Bo or someone else there at CFI would like to do. And maybe we just talk about a species, its habitat, and the what it's dealing, what its problems, the trouble, whatever's
Yeah.
keeping it from being able to be successful in
Hmm.
its regular habitat. I'd like to do that. I really loved learning about some of those fish, and I'd like to know more about them, especially some of them that are really local to us and in our area.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's incredible. I did not, first of all, I did not realize that they were the only non game native fish species
Fishery,
fishery.
yeah,
That is incredible. But also, growing up, as a kid, you hear, oh, bass, bluegill,
yeah,
catfish. That's like the big three that people talk about around here. And I was like, oh, small fish or minnows.
yeah.
That's,
It's
ev-
bait.
yeah, it's bait. But I never realized really until I met Derek and saw
Yeah,
CFI, I was like, there are so many different types of fish around us that are,
yep.
you know, a couple inches that are incredible and some of the most stunning
Gorgeous.
fish you've ever seen.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely gorgeous fish.
they put half the fish in the aquarium trade to shame
It's
when they're.
true. It's absolutely true. And some of the state laws allow you to collect.
Mhm.
Tennessee is not one of those states, so we can't just go out and collect. We'd have to actually go outside of our state, and we have to have receipts showing that we purchased them. So I don't even think you can collect and bring into our state. You have to have a receipt where you purchase them
Huh.
in order to keep them. So there's a lot of laws against it. Which is good. I mean, because we don't need to be pulling fish from their habitat if they're struggling already. And then you have those who are specialists, like the people at CFI,
Mhm.
conservation biologists who are working hard to protect those species. They really don't need us digging around and messing things up and making it worse. So I completely understand that. We are hoping to do last year we had planned an outing with CFI where we were going to go collecting with them. they were going to be the ones collecting, and we would be with them, and we'd be able to snorkel and stuff. But we had a huge storm, just like
Hmm.
absolutely off the chart. Nobody expected flood up in the Smokies, and it rained, and it really just flooded the rivers, and we couldn't go. So I'm hoping we get to do that this year. Maybe plan something just for the club, because that's one thing. And for anyone who watched Sean's video, what really amazed me, this was our first outing, right? I mean, our meetings typically are about 30 plus people, and when we do the swaps, we see about 100, around 100 people ish. And so that's been great, but this was our first outing. I was like, we may have, you know 9 people, we may have a dozen people, or who knows, maybe everybody comes and we have 50. But I really expected it to be on the smaller side. But we had we definitely were past the double digits. I think the tour I was in had about 10, and the other tour had at least that many. So we had somewhere between 20 and 30 people there. I don't know how many, but it was a great turnout. And so that tells me that if we were to do something else like the collecting, we should probably have a good turnout for that too. I mean, if we go collecting and take 9 people, I would be ecstatic. I think that would be a
Oh
success.
yeah, yeah. I think we did our. Of course, I was out of town for it, but April we did a not a collecting trip, but a observing trip,
Yeah,
surveying trip, and we had definitely a lesser turnout, but still, I think the people who went had a fantastic time. It's always nice to be able to do. I mean, that's not something you get to do every day, and you're gonna, especially if you're with CFI, you're gonna be with people who know what they're doing and do
yeah,
it the right way.
yeah. And then coming up next month in June, and I don't know how I might be doing something wrong here. I don't know how public it is, but I know that the Bluegrass Club
Hmm.
invited the ETAA to participate in a collecting event that they host in Kentucky. And unfortunately, I am out of town the week that it is happening. It's like the first weekend in June.
I
Um,
believe it's June 3rd. I'm trying to find that post.
yeah, I don't know how public their events are, so I wasn't going to give too much information. If Select Pet is here, he can definitely do that. I'm sure the more the merrier, but I don't want to speak for him. But yeah, they do an event. I think they do it every year, and they invited us, which was really cool because um, it's not something that we've planned before. So I thought it would be a lot of fun. They do a picnic and this whole thing, so it was really cool. But let's catch up with the chat before we jump into anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
And
It looks
yeah,
like John has posted that flyer event
okay,
stuff in the ETAA.
yeah, I know he posted it in the ETAA. Um, I was looking
Let's
for it
see.
actually, but I know he did.
All right, so let me scroll
So
up
keep
here.
keeping aquatics was here early and asking
Yeah.
about the box. So about that box, is it related to the plastic tub you got? So the there was an aquarium co-op box that I posted a picture of in the community tab. So that's the box he was asking about, and then the tub is referring to I got a CFI. They were cleaning out tubs and tanks that they were no longer going to use, and so part of the trip, part of going, was that we got to go through the stuff that they were throwing out before they threw it out, and anything that was usable by us, we were able to take. So I got a 50-gallon stock tub, the Rubbermaid one,
Yeah,
and
those are nice.
it's yeah, and it's already drilled, plumbed. So I could, there's a number of things I could do with it, and I had asked on the community tab, what should I do with this? Should it be like a breeding tub? I've got shade I can put it in. Maybe this summer I put some cories out there. I've got a ton of green cories.
Yes.
I could throw them out there. Um, or I could do something planning with it. If I do that, I definitely need to. It's not very deep, being a 50-gallon. I've not measured it, but it's like a foot. It's not well. It might be. It's not 18 inches. It's probably about a foot. Um, but there's a lot of things I can do with it, and so I am playing around with that. But no, the box that I received from Aquarium Co-op is not does not have anything to do with the tub. Let's see. Keeping's
Uh,
thinking about redoing an aquascape.
ooh,
I got
nice.
bored of how they look and also had an absolute algae explosion. I am this close to starting to stockpile, um, not eco complete, eco planted, to redo the 75. I'm thinking, it'd take me at least 4 bags. I probably need 5 bags. I may do a bag a week or a bag every couple of weeks or something and put it back and then redo the 75. So I'm thinking about doing it too. I would love to redo the 75 with that after having it in our 20 long. Yeah. However, let me say this: the stem plants melting, even though I'm keeping root tabs underneath them, still melting back. Um, it's just my water. It's that KH. I'm just not. I'm going to have to stick with Crips and Amazon swords and what else? What else am I doing all right with? Nubius. Just going to stick with those. Nancy B is here. First time with Lando. You said hi. You said hi to Nancy B too. Um,
Yeah.
Lando's glad he switched to a fish channel. That's awesome. I haven't had an opportunity to watch any of your recent videos. I need to do that. Muppet 929 is here.
Welcome,
Um,
welcome.
Nancy says she enjoyed the meeting and meeting
Awesome.
Tanner. Still kicking myself for not bidding higher on those Corys. What kind of Corys were they?
I brought 6 of the Corridor Schultze, the
Oh
black
yeah,
Corys. Cheryl, of course, ended up going home with them.
right. Well, the good
Um,
news about that is I'm pretty sure Cheryl will breed them and there'll be more at MCAS.
yes, I'm hoping so. I've got some more. I'm gonna hold on to most of them just because I've got one adult female,
Yeah,
and I want to get another like a breeding group going.
yeah,
So and plus they're so cute. I don't know if
yeah.
it hurt. I have like 30 of them, and the 6 I pulled out, I was like, I don't really want to part with them.
It was I mean the greens when I gave away 12 greens and I have I hatched almost 30. I think it was like 28 or 29. And I've given 12 of those away and so I still have, half of them. Um more than half of them. And yet giving those away wasn't easy. It was like, these are mine. I raised these and I fed them and they were just little bitty guys. Actually, they were like little bitty guys. And you can see some of them swimming around in here. There's a few in the 75 right now. I'll pull that up, put that on solo for a moment.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's a lot of
also,
cool stuff going on in that tank.
yeah, also the last time we were on here, that was both of us was a couple of weeks ago, and I'd had those stir-by Corys for about a week at that point, and I had them in quarantine. And I don't remember if we talked about it on the show or not, but I lost two of the three,
Hmm.
and but that one held on, and I did treat the tank after I lost the two with levamisol because they just wasted away. They didn't eat
Hmm.
and they wasted away. And so I put the one in the 75 today, and it's been and I did some, I've recorded it so I can share it. It's been so fun to watch it because that little guy or gal has been hiding in the back of that 10 gallon for all this time by itself because, the other two died pretty early. And the only thing else in there is some inler fry, which, they're not going to interact or anything. But it was always hiding. I took a big clump of moss and put in that tank so that it had a place to hide, and it stayed there and behind the filter. And today I've moved it this morning into the 75, and those four stir-by Corys have stuck together all day, and he or she has been swimming around all day, just enjoying and rubbing up against those other fish. And um, I'm glad that it made it. I told you it doesn't matter how many I buy, I always end up with one surviving.
Maybe you should just buy one at a time.
But then I'll lose it.
But if you have the one survive every time, maybe that's just
Yeah,
you got to piecemeal the group.
there I
Tell them,
was
say, hey, I will be in every day for the next 12 days. I'm getting
to get
12
to
stir
get
by
one.
Corys, but I'm getting them
Yeah,
one at a time.
one at a time. Well, they keep them now. And I was in there a couple days ago. trying to remember. Oh, I was in there yesterday. I was in there yesterday, and they had three, and I was like, ooh. One of them looked super healthy. The other, well, no, they had four. The other three, I was like, oh man, I feel like I would lose those. Like they just don't look like they're doing all that great. And you know, it's not. It's all everywhere. I have bought these from multiple stores in my area, and it's always the same for me with these fish. Um, and it's the only fish that it's like that for me. Temperatures, I don't remember what the temperature's like. Low 70s. I think it's set at 72. And then, you know, the water's been crystal clear for, I mean, it's not crystal clear. There's mulm, but, you know, they're cories. They like mulm. But as far as parameters, you know, got nitrates, that's it. And then they're never high. Um, and it's filled with plants. But anyway, it's always been the same. But we haven't seen them, or I haven't seen them in the tank on this side since I've put it up here on solo for all of it for take up the whole screen. But hopefully they'll come through and everybody can see them. So I've been excited to catch them out there today. Lando says guppies. It says that his guppies are having babies. That's awesome. There's the
Yeah,
greens.
that's always fun. I've got a 55-gallon full of about 200 guppies right now.
Yeah. So I noticed yesterday that I have my first definite male swordtail from my first batch of fry.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I saw him. I mean, it was like flip a switch, all of a sudden he's showing. Um, but right now in the middle, going behind that the chainsword, dwarf chainsword, that's one of the females that I've raised up. That's one of the older ones right now. I love those fish, and they've got some gorgeous ones at the fish store right now too. They were in quarantine, and I was like, "Ooh, I might be back for those," but I don't have a place to put them.
That's always the
Nancy B
problem.
says, I moved out one half of my Madaka rice fish and the first few shiners to tubs outside. Coral Works, you're not late. You're just on time. Big Cat's here. Hello, Big Cat. Oh,
Nancy,
so
what type of rice fish do you have? If you don't mind sending that in the chat.
the chat just jumped on me and updated. I'm like 20 minutes behind, 15 minutes behind. Fish Fam link is here. Welcome. Good to see you. Thank you. If you don't know about fishfam.link, it is a great resource for all of the live streams within the Fish Fam. Definitely recommend you go check that out. They work hard to keep everybody updated on the live streams. You can go and there's a calendar and look up what shows are going on. And it also even just tells you what's live. So Mountain Greenery is here. Welcome. Sketty Nana.
Welcome.
Good to see you. Zen Ginger is in the house. Zenny's good to see you.
Welcome, Zenny.
Coral Works. All fish are either minnow or bluegill, according to fishermen, even bass and crappie. Crappie. Why did I say crappie? What was that? Do you say you don't say crappie? Do you?
I say crappie.
I say crappie. I don't know why I read it as crappie. Must have had a bad day. Coro says, "What if you went on like a fish collecting guided tour and had a receipt for that business idea?" You know, I don't know. There are people in our club that go and do stuff for collect. They go collecting, and they also go and they buy fish. So I'm sure I could ask them. But I know that I know I know they're quick to tell you the laws. So it must be a big deal.
Yes,
um,
it's a huge deal. I'm not well versed enough on the laws and regulations to even speak on it. All I know
yeah.
it's a no in Tennessee.
Yep. Yeah, and I've just started looking into it with us trying to, you know, plan out events and stuff. I see some stir eyes over here on the left side.
Yeah, I see them
Fish time with Lando. Do you do live streams every Tuesday? We do most Tuesdays, almost every
most
Tuesday.
Tuesdays, unless
Yeah,
something comes up.
and we will have a break in June, the first week in June, first full week in June. We won't be live streaming. I know, so you can put that on your calendar. Um, Zenny's already sharing a link there. Thank you, Zenny.
Yeah, thank you.
Coral Work says or asks, "Are you going to be putting substrate in the tub?" I'll put something. I've got lots of gravel. I could put gravel. Um, I need to measure how deep it is. I mean, I've not really messed with it since I brought it home. I had so much to do this weekend, and then just jumped right back into work. And we've had storms all day today, so I've not been outside much at all.
Oh,
Um,
I I looked it up earlier. If it's the 50-gallon Rubbermaid stock
mhm.
tote or trough, it's supposed to be a foot deep.
Okay, that's what I thought. About 12 inches.
I think it is 50. Oh goodness, let me pull it back up. Yeah, structural foam stock tank is what it's
Yeah,
called. 52 inches long, 31 inches wide, I believe, at the widest, and then 12 inches tall.
yeah. So I've also got a 80-gallon pond coming at some point.
Ooh,
And I'm thinking if I take a 50-gallon tub and turn it into a filter on an
yeah.
80-gallon pond, that could be a lot of fun. So I don't know.
You know what I might do? Um, just throw something, Corey's and then like rice fish or something like
Yeah,
that in there. That'll just breed like crazy. And then get a bunch of, like terracotta pots and whatnot. Pot up a bunch of crypts and swords and put them
yeah.
in there. I bet you would get some crazy growth on it.
Okay. I got plenty of. I've got that spike with the Amazon swords. I think I ended up with 5 swords on it. I
Ooh.
haven't cut. They've got huge roots. I haven't cut them off yet because there's still one node that hasn't formed a plant, and I'm hoping. I've had it on the tank
uh,
all this time. Let me pull the tank off.
I would be interested to see how good the Corys would look with a summer of, natural
Yeah,
sunlight.
I think Curtis used to put these Corys outside, so I think they do really well. Uh,
Let's see, where are we?
keeping says, "Wait, are you going to leave the box a secret?" Yeah, the box is a secret. I thought I was so close to finding out. Fish with Lando, do you have any merch for sale? If so, can you put the link? Um, Zinni may have the link. Definitely on the YouTube page, there's a link up at the top for, is it Teespring? I think I did Teespring.
Yeah, Zinni's got the link
Awesome. I
in
knew she
there.
would. But yeah, I did a few shirts. My algae happens shirt is
Actually,
probably my favorite thing that I've done.
yeah, I
Um,
like that one.
yeah, I wear that a lot. Um, Rats, how long is he going to withhold this information, trying to torture us by posting a pic and zipping his lips about it? Uh, yeah,
That's
the
funny.
aquarium co-op box. Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll get to that. Thanks, Lando. That's awesome. Silver Creek Aquatics. I got a pup somewhere whining. I'm not
Welcome,
really sure
Silver
where.
Creek. Good to see you in the chat. Ooh, it
Holy
looks like Nancy
Oscars.
Nancy B has the blue Miyuki. I just looked those up. Yeah, those are stunning, stunning rice
Cool.
fish. That's one rice fish or something I am looking to get into this in the near future.
What was that orange fish with a black? Okay, so that is a swordtail. And I've got a couple of them. There's that large male right now in the center of the screen. Um, I just happened into him. Like I had already had the other orange, and somebody brought him. He'd gotten too big for the tank that he was in, and somebody brought him to the club. I don't know who brought him, but he got left, and I ended up bringing him home. He's been awesome.
Yeah, he looks really. I love the long tails
Yeah.
on those
I didn't think I
guys.
would. Like just initially when I saw them, I was like, it's kind of too ornamental for me because I do like that natural look. But these fish are just so gorgeous and they're fun to watch. And the fry are just cute as can be.
Well, you've got the Montezuma or Montezume
Yeah.
swordtails, which that tail is really a natural
Yep. Yeah.
natural occurrence.
Yeah. So I've got 2 female Montezumas in with my pineapple Montezuma hybrids. So I'm
Oh,
hoping to get some good fish out of that.
that would be
I
very cool.
I like that. But I will tell you, the pineapples that I'm getting, do not have the spots,
Hmm.
which is okay. Killer Kitty 08 is here.
Welcome, welcome.
Killer Kitty says, I've always heard it pronounced crappy. I have not.
Yeah, it might be a regional. I don't know, regional thing.
It could be. All right, are we at the bottom? I'll talk about the box when I get to the bottom. Uh, yeah, look in the swordtails. They're awesome. It's a live bear. It's an easy fish to keep. You just want hard water. Um, and they do a great job. Okay, Nancy B's I'm at the bottom. Nancy B was the last one. It's 9:30. It's about time to jump into it. I will talk about the box before we get into the topic, because the box has to do with the topic. I did get an aquarium co-op planted light. That's what the box was. It's right
Yeah,
here. It's been here the whole time. It's
that's
right
what I was
behind me.
thinking. It was.
Yeah, I placed it here behind me so that maybe somebody would spot it and see that it was back there. But that was way more fun that nobody caught it, or at least you didn't say anything about it. Uh, but yeah, I do need to say that I did receive the light from Aquarium Co-op because I'm part of the Friends of Aquarium Co-op program now. I do. I help out. I moderate their Facebook group. I'm one of the moderators. I'm not the only moderator. It's way too big to be the only moderator. But I help moderate that group, and yeah, they offered to put me into the program, and I said, sure, that sounds great. Thinking I'd get a hat, something cool like that, and the light was available, and I was like, I'm getting a light.
That's
So it
awesome.
is on the 75. It's actually what's on the 75 right now. And those of you who picked option 2 on the picture, you chose the aquarium co-op light. But yeah, I love it. I got it yesterday. It came in the mail yesterday. Um, and I set it up late last night. I did do an unboxing video. I don't know if it's any good or not, but I'll talk about the light as we go. It's really well built. I've been really impressed with it. Um, I want to say that I've never had a what I would consider a main a name brand light. I've had a Higher. I have had a Higher. Recently got a Higher. But as far as your name brand lights, Nycrew. I mean, do we count Nycrew as an? I mean, it's got a name and it's a brand, but it
Yeah,
is one of the. It's
that's what
not
I was gonna
UL
say.
listed.
It's a light that has a brand.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
but yeah, it's not.
Ah,
But the night crew, the one thing that's always worried about me because I work in insurance about the night crew is it's not UL listed. So it's like if
ah.
this thing burns down my house, my insurance now, especially now that I've said it on a live stream, and they can find that if I ever had a claim for it. Now I got to throw that thing out or give it to somebody. But I actually have plans for it. I'm going to use it to grow some plants. Um, but yeah, I really love it. Love the hat too. The hat was awesome. Uh, Great company. I've been a big fan of Aquarium Co-op for a long time. I've when I was learning about the hobby, I came across a lot of really bad information. I learned how not to do things from a lot of resources, and I was extremely thankful when I came across Corey and Aquarium Co-op because he was there every week, with his videos and his live streams, and willing to stand behind what he said. And I think that's key. I mean, if you take advice from someone who pops in every now and then, and you never get a chance to talk to them,
Mhm.
that's on you if the information's no good because you know there it's not a reliable source if you're not able to check in with them. And Corey is there. If you go to the Facebook group, you can talk with him on the Facebook group. So he often answers questions and communicates with people over there. And also, the Aquarium Co-op has their forum too. The Facebook group and our stuff with the ETAA keeps me so busy. I'm not on the forum much anymore. Um, but yeah, it's a great brand. I'm really impressed with it. It's got a 3-year warranty on it. So again, it's not a fly by night type thing. They're willing to back it up. And if you've never heard about their warranty, they just replace it. they might ask you to send them a video or explain what's going on, and then they get rid of, they send you another one. So it's awesome. But I do need to let everybody know, when you see the light, it was provided. I didn't buy it. Probably wouldn't have gotten it until much later in the year. But very, very thankful to Corey and Aquarium Co-op for sending that light to me. And I will. I don't know that I'll do. I'll probably do a proper review as some time goes. Um, and I'll probably put up the unboxing just to kind of to share the experience of getting it and unboxing it and putting it out there. I did do a lot of comparisons with it in my night crew. Um, and overall I like it. And I've seen one thing that I've been worried about ever since I saw it is there's a review on Aquarium Co-op's website. In case you think that they don't leave up the negative reviews, it was a positive review, but the one thing the person said they didn't like about it was that it dulled the blues on their fish, and so they sent it back. And
Hmm.
that definitely was, I 100% believe that was the case for that person. But I do have some blues in my pineapples, and I still see them. I don't feel like it dulled mine at all, so it works for me. And it's one of those things where not every light works for everybody, and that's one of the things I'm sure we'll talk about here over the next few minutes. That I believe that is that Sturbe Corridora right there in the middle.
Oh yeah.
That's the little guy.
At least I don't know if it's the camera setting or what, but the lighting looks great. I really like how kind of warm
It is.
toned it is. I really like that in a light, that kind of warmer, almost natural daylight.
That's how I described it. It's a very natural look.
Hmm.
It is more warm than the light that I had, the night crew that I had on there. The night crew, I wouldn't
Hmm.
say that night crew was blue, but it definitely in comparison looked a little blue. Um, this tank or this light is more of a yellow. It does make the plants pop, and I think the fish look great with it.
Yeah.
I've been really happy with it. It is turned up all the way right now. I may adjust that some, but I turned it up for the live stream, and I've only got it set for 6 hours right now. And that's another thing that I will say about it. I already had a Casa timer to put it on
Hmm.
because the co-op light does not come with a timer. And at first I thought, well, that why wouldn't you include a timer? That seems like, to me, seems like a no-brainer. But then I got to thinking about it. I have a timer. Why would I want another timer? I if someone already has a timer, then they're saving the money of not getting another timer, right? You just swap it. You just swap it for the one you've got. So it's actually an opportunity to save a few dollars, and makes sense to me now that I thought about it that way. But yeah, so I've got it on that. It's still, so when you turn on the co-op light, it doesn't just come on, which is something, I've always done the sunrise and sunset on my
Hmm.
night crew because I like that. I don't want to freak the fish out. I like for the light to come on slowly. And with this, even though it doesn't do a sunrise or sunset, the lights come on slow and they go off slow. It doesn't just come on bright all at once. So one thing I thought was really cool, because I didn't think it would happen with the Casa timer, when it comes on, it still does that through the Casa timer. I thought that, that would be a setting that,
Hmm.
because you've got it turned on and plugged in and it's just cutting off the power. I really thought it wouldn't do that, but it does it. So it was designed to work with that timer. So it's really cool. That's not a sales pitch. That's just my experience. I really do like the light so far. I lost my place in the chat, and I don't have an affiliate link for you or anything.
Got Coro work saying the Nikru light doesn't zap them when it's wet like the higher one does. UL or
Ooh.
not? I've yet to been. I've dropped a fair many lights in the tanks, and luckily, knock on wood, I've not had any issues.
Yeah. Um, my night crew, and it was my 48-inch one. Sometimes the plug didn't work. I'd have to mess around with the plug, move it around, plug it in. If I ever had to unplug it, every time I had to unplug it, I was like, this might be the last time this light's on. It may not come back. And so I always had to deal with that from like early on. And that thing has like a 90-day warranty. So um, if anybody will answer you, but it always worked. It always came back on. I didn't have to play with it. It's been a good light. I've had it at least 4 years, and I still have one on my 25 gallon. So I will. I can make fun of it because I've experienced it, but I would never tell somebody not to buy a night crew. I think it's a great I think it's a great light for the price.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I definitely agree. Your night crews and your Higers are fantastic lower end in lower
yeah,
end lights, but you still get a lot of bang for the money.
my one complaint about Higer, and this is the first time I've ever experienced a Higer light, is on my daughter's 20 long. Um, that light has a built-in timer, which works and it's fine, but I can't put it on a Wi-Fi timer. It won't work with one.
Mm,
I I am so sold on using these. I've got every tank on Wi-Fi timers now except that
mhm.
one, because it won't work with it, and it's awesome.
Huh.
Now I've not had a power outage since I've set that tank up. I don't know if it retains its memory or not if the power goes out.
I think
It
I've
has
had
to.
issues out of one of the fluval sky maybe, um, where if the power goes out, then it won't retain its memory of the lighting settings. And I was having it come on at like the middle of the night, and I
Yeah.
was not happy.
Yeah.
Um,
So the night crews would keep my schedule, but they'd lose the time when the power would go
mm.
out. So I'd have the same thing happen occasionally. I'd be up late and be like, wait, the power must have went out because the tank's still on. And who knows how long it had been, off the, and it doesn't matter. It's still same amount of time. But yeah. So Killer Kitty says, I've never heard it pronounced any other way until now, talking about crappie and crappy. This is like when I found out there's more than one way to say beta.
Beta and
Beta.
beta, and there's all sorts of interesting ones. It's like
Yeah.
I've heard some people say call cichlids chicklids.
Now, I did that on accident, if that's what you're talking about.
No, this has been a lot of people I've heard. My favorite mispronunciation, not even mispronunciation, just getting the word wrong, was somebody when I worked at the store. Somebody came in and said, "Hey, do y'all have any of those chinchillas?" I said, "No, we have fish here." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for the fish, the chinchillas." I was like,
Uh,
you're gonna have to
can you
show me
spell it
what
for me?
you're looking for."
Yeah. Um, I all the time stir by. I go back and forth. I don't know. I think stir by is what I want to call it, but it could be stir by. Fish with time with Lando. I really want to look into a planet tank. Is it worth looking into? Looking into a planet tank, absolutely. I recommend every freshwater tank be a planet tank.
Yes,
Some
hard
plants of some
agree.
kind. Yeah. If you're asking about the light, yes, I do recommend looking at the light. It's middle of the road on price and probably a high end light. It doesn't have the bells and whistles of some of the more expensive lights, probably the industry standard lights. But I really didn't want to fool with an app. The Casa app
Yeah.
is enough dealing with the Wi-Fi,
Oh
and I
yeah.
think Fluval does Bluetooth. Doesn't it work off Bluetooth?
Yeah, and it's annoying to say the
Yeah,
least. Because
I
I
didn't want that.
believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the main intent for this light, the co-op light, was to provide a high level of lighting, a high powered light on a semi budget price by cutting out a lot of the bells and
Yep.
whistles. So I think it's supposed to be brighter than some of the fluvals because if I'm being candid, the fluval, I've got the 2.0 and it is not super bright for
Yeah.
what, for the money you're paying.
Yeah. Yeah, and now with the 3.0, most people that I know had to turn it down. I mean, it was so
Hmm.
powerful, but that's a 200 and something dollar light. And this
Yeah.
light's like 150, I believe, on the website right now, for the 48 inch. And of course, the smaller lights are less expensive.
Hmm.
Ginger says, I'm a cold blue, blinding bright light kind of girl. I also don't question where all my algae comes from. Yeah. And when I first put the co-op light on, I felt that way. I was like, oh, I don't know that I can handle that, the difference. And depending on how the video turned out, because I haven't looked at the footage yet. You might see that, and you might not, because I did go back and forth a little bit with I don't know that I like that. But after just swapping it, and it doesn't glare at me, and I really like it. I like the way the plants look, and you all know I love plants, so. There's times in the hobby that I prefer my plants over my fish. The plants are easier to take care of, unless they're stems. And but I really do. I really do like the light. It is like 5,500 on the color instead of the 65. 65 is like what, white. 65 is like pretty white, and it's like 50 or
Yeah,
55 somewhere around there. So it is a warmer light for sure. Uh, Keep Keeping says, I've only ever bought used or cheap lights. Hopefully someday when I'm tired
that's how
of
my
buying
you have
two lights a year.
customized.
Oh, did I drop?
Oh, I may have.
Okay.
I was just saying I would make it that warmer color.
Yeah. It looks good. I asked my wife, that's kind of the test around here. I was like, what do you think? Does the light look good? She goes, I can't tell the difference. I was like, that's what I wanted to hear. That's absolutely, as long as you can't tell the difference, that's good. Um, but yeah, I've always had night cruise, and this was a light I wanted to try at some point, and I just got to try it earlier. I'm excited. Um, Yeah, always get the best you can afford to spend. And the
Hmm.
Niker again. I think I spent $50 on my 48-inch light, and it was a planted light. It had reds and greens, and blues mixed in with the light with the LEDs. The co-op light does have 5 rows of LEDs, so it's got a wide spread. It really lights up that tank. Um, Coral Work says it won't work when the power goes out either. Those little LCD display timers are the worst. My Higer one forgets its setting. Now, my Higer isn't the LCD; it's the inline, the little remote.
Mm.
It's just like the remote is just like a bunch of other remotes that I have on other products, but it does have it's got a button that you hit, and it's got 3 color LEDs in the remote, and it's 6, 8, and 12. So you set the timer based that way. I wonder why sometimes it gives room for you, and other times it covers you up, and it's like you're Wilson from Home Improvement.
I
Um, Things that make me go, hmm.
think it might be
Cichlids,
the length of the comment.
it could be cichlids. That's what I call it. Cichlids, chinchilla. Um, a lot of us kept fish before YouTube, learning new words just from Brantley. Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, definitely. Koro has heard chimichanga instead of chinchilla before. That's another good one.
Yeah, only Oscars loves the flu ball, and it's a great light. It was the
Hmm.
standard that I wanted. I wanted it. I did think, oh man, I hope the app's not too much. And then there were people that would talk about, there was like a update at one point, and that update messed everybody's light up for a little while, and they got it fixed. But I read some stuff online about that, and I was like, maybe I don't want that. Um, but yeah, they're great lights. I wouldn't put it down. I hear it's still a better light, but maybe not worth the price difference is what I hear. And to me, I feel that way. Um,
Yeah, so I'm kind of in the same camp to where you've got your night crews and your Higers and your kind of lights in the lower tier of cost. Then that middle tier, I would put the Fluvals and maybe maybe the Twin Stars, but those are a little maybe in the higher tier. But there's just I don't see a big justification for my hobby in jumping to that middle tier from the budget lights.
yeah,
I have one light that's in the high tier, and it's definitely you can tell a massive difference. I
yeah.
run it, my Chihiros, it
I was
runs
gonna say
on
that's your chinchilla light.
my chinchilla light, it runs at 65% and
Yeah,
has some phenomenal color, the WRGB aspect.
Yeah. Well, I'm notorious for butchering things. Like we have a Cheerio cabinet in our house. I think it's actually called a curio cabinet, but my kids call it the Cheerio cabinet because that's what I've always called it. Um, Zinni says, well, the person's name was Sturba, so it's theoretically said Sturba I, which is said, which if said fast is Sturbai. So I'd say that's the closest, not Sturbe. Good to know.
Interesting.
And it is usually names and stuff like that. Coral Work
Yeah.
says stir bait and stir fry. That's a good way to remember it. Yeah. You gotta love it when the chat just jumps and goes somewhere random. I'm not even close to where I was.
It happens to me all the time, and I don't know why or
Yeah.
how.
Coral Work says, I keep so much tannins in my water that all my lights look warm, yellow, regardless of how blue they are. I've been considering a reef light just for jokes intensity. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Fluval also has great customer service. Okay.
Yeah.
And the 3.0 does retain the memory. I know that. Yeah. That was one thing that was appealing because I moved to an area where I do commonly experience power outages. Not for very long. Sometimes it's just a flicker, but sometimes that's enough. Um, Coralworks says, I don't know about higher lights, but I have submersible bar lights with the same inline timer controlled by remote, and they will work after a power outage, but they don't keep time without power. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, because if I'm understanding how this works correctly, it's keeping time, and when I press that button for the 6 hour, it comes on at the same time as that time when I pressed it moving forward. I don't know how a power outage impacts that. I feel like I have lost power since setting up that tank, and I've not experienced a problem with it. So maybe it does keep it for a period of time. Again, a power outage for me is not very long. It doesn't take long. All right, we're at the bottom of the chat. We got like 9 minutes. We did not cover the topic. We
Yeah, I was
did
gonna
kind
say
of
we glanced over it, so I do think we're gonna have to do Let's Talk Lights attempt 3
three. Let's do
is
it.
likely needed.
Uh huh.
But yeah, because we really need it. We've talked about some lights, but we
Yeah.
haven't gotten to the nitty gritty, the fun stuff,
Yeah,
par
and
and all that.
that's one, lights are one thing that I have done a lot of shopping on because, I just like it was said in the chat, you want to get the best light you can afford.
Hmm.
And at the time when I got the 75 and the light that came with it was junk, the best I could afford at the time was $50. And so
Yeah.
that's what I got. As a matter of fact, I think I got an Amazon Prime credit card and got it for free.
You know, I'm in the boat. I would rather have a smaller tank and a better light
Yeah,
than a larger tank and a worse light, just because a good light can make, if especially with plants, a good light can make or break a tank.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the stems. It really bums me out that I can't seem to get that to work. And I don't really know if changing the substrate is the solution there because I really feel like
Yeah.
it's the water that I'm fighting.
Have you tried any of them in the 20 long with Eco Complete?
Um, they might be holding out a little bit longer, but I am experiencing a little bit of melt back there too.
Hmm.
Um, they're not all that leggy though, and the light isn't very powerful. It's the Higer, and I don't know that this light is for a planted tank. So I probably do. So I can't say if it's the water or the light in that tank. It
Hmm.
wouldn't be a good standard for me to use. But
Gotcha.
yeah, maybe I get a light to put on that tank instead of using that one. The Higer that's on there was one that I got as part of the Amazon Vine program. So I've got it on there as I test it so that I can do a review for it. Man, that little sword right there that was just in the middle. He's always been gorgeous, but the other swords just got so massively bigger than him. It was funny.
Huh.
He he's gorgeous but small. Probably need to pull him in a female him and a couple of females out and put them somewhere else and try to get some of that color.
Yeah, yeah, that would be very cool. There's a lot in there right now.
Yeah, only Oscar says Coro planning is the key to success, and that is true. I think that's probably something we talk about with every topic that that we discuss on here is that it's kind of the planning. I think sometimes we just buy what we see and we regret it. I know I do that. Um,
Hmm.
but whereas if we spend the time doing the research first, we'll be much happier. Uh, isn't the sun just a big night crew? It's not UL listed. You're right. As Zen likes to call them, are you using the squirt ferts? Stems typically pull more nutrients from the water column than the substrate. I'm doing both. I do use Easy Green, and I keep my nitrates in this tank above 20, and there are also root tabs underneath it
Yeah.
because I've always done the Easy Green, and trying to do the root tabs was kind of my experiment with this go around.
Yeah, I actually use very little liquid ferts in a couple of my tanks. It really depends on what stem species you have,
Yeah.
like, or
What
genus
substrate do you
more
have in
so.
there?
Uh, I've got, oh goodness, what is it? My sand, eco complete, and soil
Yeah.
kind of mixture, and then I do root tabs every month.
Yeah.
So I'm heavier on the root tabs, but not as heavy on liquid ferts, just because your Rotalas are gonna want more column fertilization, but your things like Ludwigia and even Bacopa are gonna
Hmm.
get more from the substrate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I've been trying to do. I will say the cardinal plants are doing well.
Yeah, cardinal plant grows. If you throw some CO2 with the cardinal plant, it grows
Yeah.
crazy.
That's the next thing. I got to do CO2 on the 75
Yes, that would be
because I've
awesome.
got a light on it now. I was like, maybe I get the light, then I do CO2. Okay, now I got
Yeah.
to start looking for a tank.
Even if you have lesser, a lower lighting, say medium strength lighting, CO2 will still help tremendously.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got a couple of minutes left before we go. So just kind of uh, clean up. I did not check to see if someone can tell me if Eric was going live tonight. Um, I've just been busy and not been in all the forums and discords and everything. But he may be going live. I don't know. Um, Videos to come. I've been saying that for too long, so I'm not going to promise when. I've actually got 3 different things that are filmed, and I just got to make the time to get them edited. One of them is partially edited. So, but thank you all for coming to the stream. We didn't say it before, but thank you to those of you who are watching the replay. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, to listen to me ramble, and we really do appreciate it. Hopefully, you like the live stream and you'll give it a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, we do the live streams every Tuesday almost.
Hmm.
And we plan on being here every Tuesday, except for when we're not, which should be fewer than it has been. I do appreciate being able to take the time off last week. I know there were some people that responded. It was like you take what you need, and I always appreciate that because it does feel you miss it. It's not that I feel like I'm obligated to do it. I really miss when we get a chance to sit down and talk.
Yeah,
I haven't talked to Tanner in 2 weeks.
I know it's been so busy, so busy.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, um, I don't think I have anything else. I don't see. I don't see if Eric's going live or not. You can check out fishfam.link to find out though. And oh, if you are in the area in June, Ben Ochart, you all probably know who Ben Ochart is. Ben's
Yeah.
going to be at the ETAA for the June meeting, so that will be the week that I'm gone. I'm actually supposed to be coming back that day, and depending on how that
Oh yeah.
goes, if the wife if my wife is okay with me ditching out on the clothes and everything, probably not, but we'll see. I might try to make it. I'd like to meet Ben. I've been talking with him, setting things up, and I was really disappointed when I realized that that was the same week that I was going to be gone, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to hand you off to somebody else now because I won't be here. Um, so yeah, fish time with Lando. I'm sure there are a lot of people in the chat here are also at Corey's live stream on Wednesday. So all right, that's going to be it for us. Hope you're enjoying your tanks,
Yep.
and we'll see you later.